Hey guys, so today, Paddock Speedshop in Birmingham. That's where I am. What is the Paddock Speedshop? It's basically a television show, a new TV show that's coming your way. It's all about getting into racing with classics. You can see behind me, there is an Aston Martin, a DBS, and it's going to be all about that. What am I doing here today? Because they're doing some filming here. They're finishing filming the show. And the first part of the show, I think they have something like they're doing a press conference. And the press conference is being staged now. So they asked a bunch of journalists to come up here and basically have a press conference for real, which they're going to film. And then they're going to include that in the TV show. So you might even see me on the show. How cool is that? So as you can see, some amazing cars, an amazing thing. They're just setting up over there. So it should be really interesting. I'll give you a walk around and stuff like that. So stay tuned. This should be cool.
A brown car guy. Brown car guy.
We're going to show that classic cars could be the next generation's way to express themselves on the modern road and drive safely and sustainably, making every single journey a story.
Repurposing classic cars is the absolute ultimate way of our generation reducing their carbon footprint.
And with biofuels on their way to their mass market, we've used them on the racetrack. Classic cars are the future of driving sustainably.
We are the Paddock Speedshop.
And this is restoration by a new generation.
Blake-Jones. I'm the owner and editor of Paddock Life magazine, but also the producer of this new television show. The Paddock Speedshop is, as Lucy said, it's more a way of life than a destination, but we're hoping where we stood now is our home for the foreseeable future. But it's an exciting new TV show that is all about next generation.
So I'm Ethan Blake-Jones, son of Craig. Writer.
Did you say son?
Yes, son.
Oh, so this is a father and son team.
It's a family thing, father and double son team, as Harvey's just bringing in a coffee there. Yeah, so...
Oh, so you're also...
Yeah.
So, oh, right.
Hence the handsome good looks run all the way through.
No nepotism going on here.
No. It's a black country thing. But, so writer and one co-host of the Paddock Speedshop. And yeah, so our main push is to get the next generation into classic cars. It has been since the start. The show has taken a bit of a twist where we pursue our racing career in the Mini to come and the Cobra that's just been. But yeah, one of our real pushes is when I was 17 and passed that my test in my MGB, there were plenty of classic car clubs out there, but none of them it's not that they weren't welcoming, it's they didn't seem naturally welcoming. You know, I couldn't turn up. If I turned up to a pub for an MG car club meet, the chances are I'd have been a room full of old blokes, which would have been very nice to talk to, but they're not my age, you know, and that's what everybody longs for, a sense of community in their generation. So we're really keen to push that. I think it's so important to push it in a time now where the world is so consumed with electrification of classics, reliance on public transport. You know, to me, motoring is far more than just commuting. It's about making every commute a story and a journey. And it's about welcoming people into communities and growing as a social group. And I think lockdown made a massive boost to classic car meets. So for example, Wheels on Wednesday we like to go to. It's grassroots stuff. It's very simple. And you're starting to see a small increase of young drivers turn up to those, and they're welcomed. They're welcomed because of the existing group, the older gents and ladies. They want to see them there, which is very nice. But more and more, they're seeing people their age, and I think we just have to keep pushing and pushing and pushing.
So we'll come back to that in a minute, but I want to explain to everybody the premise of the show. What is the show actually about? What actually happens in the show?
Well, the show is about myself and Lucy keen to continue to restore my MGB, which is my first car, the Morris Minor, a hill climb car, which we want to show people how to get into the best level of entry level racing, which is hill climb. A restoration on a friend's Mini Mayfair, which is a resto mod restored to a resto mod that's not a hunk of junk, and an Aston Martin DBS Vantage, which is over in the corner, which will be our challenging Concours restoration. But along the way, we are approached by our headline sponsor, Motul, and given a slot to race at Silverstone Festival. So suddenly the team has to drop all of these restorations, and over 10 weeks we have to, I'm not going to use that term, panic and scramble, use it in the Citroen C1 given to us by our sponsors, Nankang, to build up our race license ticks, get together as a race team, learn everything the hard way on the ground. And we got the crown jewel of racing this Cobra at Silverstone Festival in a crowd of, I think, some 300,000 people, not to mention the internet audience. So it was a very big weight on our shoulders, a very sudden learning curve, fast story, and that's the first 3 episodes. We then come back into restoring the MG, building the perfect road car, except now we're not just 2 amateurs giving it a go. We're a race team. We're seasoned. We've learned things. We've learned that it's important to stiffen cars' chassis, even in ways that they perhaps didn't leave the factory. We've learned that it's so important to treat cars with proper paint, because one of our missions is to make sure these cars stay on the road for generations and generations to come, as they already have. They can be almost immortal when their paint, their metalwork is sealed with proper body products. We want to ensure that all our cars have race-level safety harnesses, that they have exposed fuse boxes to encourage driver education, so that they know, should they blow a fuse, hopefully they won't. It's about a driver understanding the machine they're controlling. They can diagnose problems at the side of the road, because you're going to have to in a classic car.
I am Lucy. I am the organisation, shall I say, and the bodywork of the Paddock Speedshop.
Organisation and bodywork?
Yes.
Okay, right.
Yes.
Okay, all right, cool. You get the car sorted.
I make them look pretty, make sure they're all prepped and stuff properly, and then when we go racing, I tend to be the one who organises the team and sticks to him like glue, because he wanders off.
Oh,
he's
okay.
the driver, and he can't. So.
Okay, so you're the driver. So tell us who you are.
Yeah, I'm Harvey. My main role is as the driver, and I've actually full-time, I'm a mechanic as well. I've worked on a race team and now restoration mostly. But so I butt in and out on giving tips on the builds of the race cars and stuff like that. But yeah, I get the fun stuff.
So is this the first time that you're actually getting into full-time racing?
Yes. So this is the first season of racing I've ever done. First time I was ever on track was last year, so summer of 2022. So the year before last.
Yeah, before, yeah.
And then that was just a private test day through Radical. I was lucky they invited us out. So that was the first time on track. Incredible. One of the best days. And then from there, we've kind of done bits and bobs. Obviously, I met you at Chelsea Walsh.
That's right, yeah.
That was probably my second time out
Really?
on private roads, able to go quickly. And that was in this beautiful
That
car.
was in the
So
Cobra. Producing a TV show.
Yes.
Now, there are lots of TV shows about restoring classic cars. So
Yep.
what makes this show different?
This show is not about the cars. So so what's just won, I think it's Emmys or Golden Globes, The Bear. It's on Disney Plus or something else in the States. It's fantastic. And I kind of stayed away from it because I'm one of those guys, it's always too popular for me, I don't want to watch it. But somebody, Ben actually, in our team said, you've got to watch it because you love cooking and it's not about food. And I was like, well, that's interesting because we're a car show. It's full of cars, but it's not about cars. This is about the people making the cars. It's about every member of the audience can see themselves in one of us as just somebody trying to do it. And we're very fortunate that we keep trying and we keep getting more support and we keep getting bigger sponsors. They keep pushing us and pushing us and pushing us. Now, of course, that's not going to go the same for everybody, but what can go is grabbing a group of friends with some tenacity, building the dexterity and the confidence to just buy yourself your first classic and give it a go.
Yeah, I thought, what was our generation like? They like TV shows that they could binge and they like stories they can be involved with. So instead of using the formula, we open up at a press conference where each member of the team, not just us, are quizzed on how they got from where they started to where they are. And that's what drives the first 3 episodes.
Episode 1, all about introducing the audience to the 4 cars we have with us on the show. We got the Mini, the Morris, MGB GT, and Aston Martin DBS Vantage.
But it's also about introducing the two of us, Ethan, Lucy, as these, fresh-faced amateurs just eager to get into the world of classic cars. But the audience knows straight out of the gate that we have no idea what's in store for us. The two of us will end up racing, being responsible for a £1 million icon of classic racing. Our main sponsors, Motul, came to us.
I've got an idea.
With a race entry for Silverstone Classic. Now, fortunately, we already had a race car, but our driver only had a novice license, and so we had 10 weeks, just 10 weeks, to get him from novice to national. And that's what we did. Episode 2 is about the two of us, enthusiasts, barely mechanics, going from zero to hero as a race team.
I definitely found my place in the team during those 10 weeks massively. I think I couldn't cope with watching 5 men all trying to be in charge at the same time. It just drove me insane. So I kind of piped up for the first time, stepped up, and we kind of got that organisation and got that team working really well, I think. As we start going to the race weekends, you get a much better view of like the whole team. Matt and John come along to help us with the spannering and stuff. Of course, Harvey is making many more appearances now. And I think we all just sort of settled into our own roles.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know. To race, you can't just show up with a bit of money and a car. You have to get a race license. But the first race license you get given is just a club license, which you can do things such as the C1 Cup in. But you can't race this at major events such as the Silverstone Festival. You need a national license. So to upgrade that, you need 6 ticks from separate weekends. You can only get 2 ticks per weekend in club racing. To get a tick as well, worth adding, you have to do a minimum of half an hour on track. Is that right? To get 2 ticks, you have to do a minimum of an hour of racing per weekend or something similar to that. Yeah. Well, I think that is correct. I should be saying it's correct.
I've got a wad of paperwork about getting that race licence sorted. So.
Excellent.
But yeah, we got that done in 10 weeks. Very stressful, but also incredibly fun. I think we all really enjoyed it. And then we got onto this, which we raced at Silverstone Festival, spectacular car.
There's one thing you mentioned earlier. You're turning up at a racetrack with a car and some money. And we're talking about money. We're talking about this thing. I mean, what's the value of this thing?
It's very difficult.
This is just to reiterate for people. This is a genuine Cobra.
Yes. Yeah, this is a genuine 260 Mark 1 Cobra. This is actually chassis number CSX 048. The first 70 cars were 260s. It's got a smaller engine. 260 is literally the cubic inches of the engine, small block Ford V8. So aluminium bodied, everyone knows about Cobras. There's so many kits, but to see a real one and to drive a real one, let alone race it, is really special. But it's quite undergunned compared to the ones you usually see. It's the first iteration. It had a much smaller engine. All the suspension is a lot more agricultural. It's pretty much, not many people know, just AC Ace, which was a Bristol 6-cylinder that was sent to America, or vice versa. The gearbox and the engine was sent to AC, and they put that in, and that's about it for the first one. So this is just a British car with an American engine and gearbox.
That's pretty much, it's basically Shelby-ized, that's what it is,
exactly.
So, but this has also got some provenance, hasn't it, this car? This has been in movies and stuff.
Yeah, so this was in the movie Viva Las Vegas, with Elvis in. Everyone knows Elvis. It was also in...
It was silver when it was in the film.
Yes, it was silver.
When it was in the film. That's where the confusion lies with the Elvis story. Right. It was silver. When that filming was done,
I'm glad you pointed that out. That's a very important fact, yeah. Now, did you say you're also getting a racing license then?
I would like to. It's something I would love to have a go at. But as Harv said, racing's it's a very expensive thing to have a go at. And you saw yourself, I was there for the Motul Shelsley Walsh Day. That's the first time I've ever drove on something that's not on a road. I was a very new driver when I did that. Didn't have a daily car. I have a daily car now. I have crashed it. Not badly, but I've learned a lot as a driver. Obviously, I also drive these around the workshop and in and out of the building, and even that, it's different. Every car is different, but I don't stall anymore, so I'm obviously getting there. So maybe when I can replace the ZR, we can do an MG series or something. We'll have a go at that.
So we were here today filming one of the episodes. We're doing a press conference. Where is the show at now? What stage are you at? Where and when can people hope to see it?
That's you. That is me indeed. Well, we're very fortunate enough. we've found that we've been better received in America than we have in the UK.
Interesting,
from an industry point of view. I've managed to do a deal with a very reputable independent American distributor who have offers from all the major networks for the concept of our show. So we're now under the cosh, as we're now at the end of January, to deliver the first 4 episodes by mid-February, which we are on target to do, although not easy, but if it was easy, everyone would do it.
Yeah.
And provided we hit our delivery time, which we will, they will air in May. I'm not sure what channel yet, but it will be a decent mainstream channel, and it will be a synchronised release through all the key territories, UK, Europe, but brilliantly for us, America. So, it's odd that as an English show, we've sort of had to go to America where the channels are owned.
Do you think that that's because that there's still an over-abiding love affair in America with the car? Have we fallen out of love with the car here in the UK? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, I think that is the Americans did put that very succinctly. I also think from a television point of view, we've got loads of shows. Mike's seen 20 years of Wheeler Dealers. Brilliant. The Goblin Guys, that was the show that actually inspired us to do it. Bangers and Cash, we've got shows that are from all the different corners of our country, but there's a lot of them, but nothing compared to what comes out of America. Interestingly, though, all of these shows are commissioned by channels. Then none of them are totally independent. So we've come in weirdly as the only independent one that's available for channels to bid for, so that's been good for us. But I also think the Americans are embracing, they love the fact that we're recycling cars. They're a much more open community. It just so happens we raced an American legend on the first series, but also Formula One has had a massive impact in the States, and the Netflix series Drive to Survive has really fueled that, which has netted out to the American audience really having a hunger for racing stories and European content. So I think a lot of it is we just got really lucky.
So you touched on sustainability there, and obviously one of the key messaging for younger people, at the moment everybody's talking about sustainability. You talked about it earlier. What's the key messaging that you want to get across from here? Because at the moment we are in a situation where cars are demonized a little bit, aren't they?
So Simon's just resetting the room, but I'll make this short and sharp. I think there's a misconception about electrification of cars. Yes, electric cars have a place amongst the fleet, but the solution to our greenhouse gases, or whatever you would like to pin it as, the solution to environmental motoring is not to remove all the cars from the road and become electric. And I think now the narrative is swinging where people are starting to admit that the solution is drop-in fuels. We need government globally to start acknowledging the fact that over the last 100 or so years, the world has been building an infrastructure around the internal combustion engine. We need to keep those on the road. We need to stop producing new cars just for the sake of a new model every year. We need to use existing cars, be that classic, be that turn of the century, and we need to use drop-in synthetic fuels. They can come from all sorts of sources. They can come from agriculture. They can come from waste products of the food industry.
Carbon extraction.
Exactly. So we need to put pressure on governments, whichever country we live in, to stop pushing this, this kind of smokescreen of electrification is the future. Buy an electric car. Here's an incentive. We're putting pumps in. There's already a massive web of petrol stations that new synthetic fuels can simply drop in and go into the cars we already own. We don't need to keep overproducing.
May I ask how old you are, Far?
I am 25.
I have recently turned 21. When we started filming, I was 20.
Wow. So this show, is it aimed to inspire younger people? Is that sort of the main ethos of the show?
Yeah, basically. It's to get people of our generation into the classic industry as a whole, not just the racing, the cars, the community, the shows, everything. Because everyone's going on about recycling and upcycling and carbon footprints and everything like that. What we do to that car there, take you 10 years of driving around in a Tesla to minimise the carbon footprint, because it's already done it. It's already done itself. We're taking something that is scrap and making it now usable. economic. Obviously, there's lots of different fuel options with synthetic fuels, like P1, for example, that we did use in the Cobra when we was at Silverstone.
Yep.
Did we put it in? Yeah. There is actually a lot of things out there that are a lot better for the environment. Everybody thinks it's electric cars. It's not. You've got to make them. You've got to do that in a factory. What we're doing here is upcycling.
It's
basically.
very interesting that you say that, and I think that's really going to resonate with some of my audience because they also feel this way. But also electric car racing is also coming along. Have you had to go in an electric racer at all?
I've actually never driven an electric car.
Oh, right.
But I can suspect that it'd be really different because obviously you've got no gear stick, but the power delivery in something like this or other cars I've driven, you've either got naturally aspirated engine that's pokey, but you've still got gears and such, change ratios, torque output and all that sort of stuff. But an electric car, it's all there immediately whenever you do it, and there's no noise, which makes a huge mental difference when you're driving. It's just odd.
Especially when you drive this thing.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to drive an electric car. I actually...
Well, this is the thing. I mean, you've got a bunch of classics here that obviously you are restoring. Can you imagine later in the series, or maybe in Series 2, you might work on converting one into an electric racer? No.
Not if
That's
I've
a very
not
definite
if I've
no.
got anything to do with it. No, it's a classic car. It's got history. It's been through generations. You don't know what journeys it's been on. You don't know what countries it's been in, who's been in it, and it's not built to be electric. And what would be the point in doing that? We've already got a car that works. We're gonna put fossil fuels out into the planet to make that car electric, or just put some better brakes in it, put some decent fuel in it, and use it for the next 10 years. And actually, that is way better for the planet than it is to try and electrify what is already a classic masterpiece.
That's brilliant. Tell me, what are you hoping out of this show? What would be a great result? Is it more about the racing, or is it more about the TV show in itself and what it can achieve? It's
about the speed shop, the Paddock Speedshop, as a family, learning, doing and trying things that we've all always wanted to do. And the sponsors and people like yourselves around us that are supporting us have allowed us the means to do that. And it's trying to show that you don't have to be brought up in a very financial state. You know, you haven't got to be amazingly gifted at driving. It's helpful if you are, but you can always learn. There is thousands of people around this industry that you can ask questions to. I'd never painted a car. I had never sanded paint off a car before I touched that Mini, and look at it.
Brilliant.
I've learned, if I can do it, trust me, anyone can.
and you just want to win.
Actually, full-time I work as a classic car mechanic. So I was already into it when we started this. But yeah, my aim in the show is I'm the driver who goes out and enjoys everyone's hard work.
Excellent. So, and finally, you've got big plans for this place as well.
We do, yes. Yeah, so at the moment we're in here, short term, got to get this place looking like the original speed shop and get these cars built. The building as a whole, we have visions for it to become a hub for all things speed shop. That's all our sponsors will be able to hopefully retail their products. So there'll be a place, a bit like a department store of old, where you can walk in, buy your oil. There's a specialist that can tell you about body products. There's someone that can tell you about the tires you need. We intend and would love to be the first sustainable petrol pump in the country. So that people can come in, and it won't be cheap, but it'll be more about pushing the awareness, because until it becomes bigger, you know, the economies of scale can kick in and the petrol price can come down. But it means that people can come here, have a coffee, have a really good sandwich, buy some oil, talk about tires, talk about body products, maybe even wander down here and see us working on cars or being filmed, and then leave with a few litres of synthetic fuel just to start the message rolling, get the ball rolling, get people behind it, that these classic cars, they are the future of sustainability. They exist, they've been built, their lifespan has been written over 3 times. I was reading a study, and I think the average life expectancy of a modern car is just under. It's 13 point something years, and that's just outrageous. You know, any car you buy today is more than capable of running and running and running, and the proof is in these. You know, the car I drive, the car I learned to drive in, was 40 years old when I bought it. It gets older every year, and with the correct care, the correct maintenance, the correct fuels, the correct lubricants, there's nothing to stop it running. So I think more and more people need to see that as the future of sustainable motoring and not get so distracted with modern electrics.
That's awesome. I look forward to coming back here and having a coffee with you at that time.
Thanfor coming in.
Brown car guy.
Hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please hit the like button and share this video as well if you can. And while you're at it, check out these guys who also sponsor my content. I am deeply grateful to them because it helps me to buy new equipment, put fuel in the cars, and yes, buy a cup of coffee. You can do the same. Just go here or right here on YouTube. Just hit these 3 little dots down here and click on thanks. Make sure you're signed in first. My content is free, but this is how you can help me keep it that way. I may even send you a gift. Oh, by the way, watch this next.